Thank you so much for joining us on the Dwelling Show. I'm your host, Ola Dantes. I've got James Nielsen with us today. James, how you doing?
I'm good, Ola.
Doing great, doing great. So I think you can do a way better job than I can and telling our listeners who you are, what you do, and what you've been up to lately.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So as you can probably hear from my name and my accent, I wasn't born in this country. I came from Denmark. I have been in the U.S. since 1996. Came here and basically did what everybody else did. Got the education, got the good job, saved in my 401k, and just worked my way up through kind of the corporate ladder for years and years, right? And that was great. It was in IT, and that was enjoyable and made good made good money there. But then one day I was like, man, this is never really gonna give me to any kind of financial freedom. So 4 years, 5 years ago, I decided that real estate investing was kind of the path for me. And I started with some smaller deals, bought a couple of fourplexes down in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I live in southwestern Colorado, but Albuquerque, New Mexico was kind of the first place I started. And then slowly moved up to some bigger deals, and have since, syndicating, and we're actually in the middle of our fourth syndication right now. So that was kind of very, very quick overview. I don't know what you want to dig into here a little bit, but we can talk more about some of the larger deals, smaller deals.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of folks listening to this might be they're trying to act, how do I get into the industry? So I kind of like to focus more historically. So you said you bought a few duplexes, but first and foremost, sorry, triplexes, I think you said. Before we even get into any of that, you had a job, like you said, what everyone is doing in the United States. You came from Denmark, just like I came, to the US as well. Why didn't you just continue, with the IT job, the 9 to 5? I'm sure it paid pretty well. Why do you decide to do this new thing called real estate investing?
Yeah, basically because I was losing passion for my job, right? Because it was like something I've been doing for 20 years, and it seemed like the same thing every time, right? And the only way you progress in the corporate world is you just go higher and higher up, and you become, manager, and then you got to deal with employees and deal with all those issues. And it just seemed like it wasn't really something I was super passionate about. And I realized, hey, I have another 20 years of work if I want to stay in the corporate world. So it was just not really, there was no path for financial freedom, essentially. The only financial freedom was be to save my 401k and retire when I was 65. And I wasn't building something for myself. I was building something for somebody else, right? And I kept racking my brain about what makes sense, and everything else just looked like another job. It would be like an IT consulting or something. I was like, man, this sucks. So I discovered real estate investing. I was like, oh yeah, this is the path. This is what I really need to do. And then kind of went down that direction,
I'm
essentially.
sure, and yeah, you sure did do something. So just kind of tell us about your very first deal. What was the deal like? If you don't mind sharing the numbers, how did you kind of get your feet wet? Because now you're doing, massive syndications. Many of our listeners are not there yet. So let's just kind of try to tie the two together.
Yeah, so I started, as soon as I learned or started learning about investing, I reached out to a good friend I have here in my local community who I knew was investing already. So I was like, hey, how does this work? What am I supposed to do? And he kind of, we sat down and had dinner and we talked about it, and he laid it all out and said, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you analyze a deal. And I said, okay, cool. Who should I talk to? Who can help me with this? And he said, well, go and talk to this guy. And I was investing in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I said, go and talk to this gentleman. He can help you out. And basically, I called him up and I said, hey, I'm looking for a smaller deal. I've got some money in the bank and let's do something. And he very quickly found a fourplex for me. Um, and we paid, I think it was $117,000 for a 4-unit deal. Got traditional 30-year financing on it. And then we put some money into it because the units were a little run down. So I think we put a new roof on there, and we fixed up a couple of units, and spend 20 or 30,000 to kind of fix it up. And then we're just cash flowing it. So that was just kind of the start, right? And it may seem simple. I mean, I had saved up some money in that was sitting in the stock market, so I pulled it out and started, use that for the investments. And it was just, hey, let's buy this deal. I think a lot of new investors, they can't really get out of their own way, and they just get stuck in paralysis analysis and never really take action. And I was like, hey, taking action was the one thing that just pushed me forward very quickly. I learned from it, and I also realized what not to do and what to do, and so forth.
Yeah, so you bought this fourplex. You reached out to somebody in your local market that could actually help you get in, kind of get your feet wet, right? So you reached out to these folks, then you actually did something, and then I'm guessing after that you bought more of it. When was that point in your career that you thought, hey, I want to try something bigger? And then how did you go about making that transition? Right? Did you also use the same kind of approach, which is reaching out to someone? Did you partner? Did you call GP? Just kind of walk us through that path.
Yeah, so I bought a couple other deals kind of with my own money, and then I was like, I want to go a little bit bigger, and I didn't go straight to the syndication model. I did a JV first. I said, okay, actually with the same uh, broker partner I had bought the first deal with. I said, hey, if I find a larger deal, do you want to partner with me? And he said, sure, because he's an investor. He loves investing. So we found this 38 unit. I think we've had a little over 2 years now. So we found a 38 unit. We bought that. I brought some capital. I found a couple of partners, and we all, did a JV on that deal. So that was my first time, like, kind of bringing other partners in to get it. So that was an interesting path doing that. But then really what pushed me into that that syndication world was really studying, getting educated, surrounding myself with people that had the same goals as me. So I signed up for a coaching program. I would go to events, and really just getting out there and talking to people, because I'm in a small town, and I can't really connect very well with people sitting behind my computer. So I really just got out there and really started connecting with people, and then the first deal, as you said, it was a kind of a co-GP situation where I found somebody who was doing a deal, and they wanted some help with some underwriting, some due diligence, some equity raising, and that's how I was able to join and bring value to the first deal.
And how did that 38 unit deal go? Because I'm guessing you went from kind of like your, residential multifamily to now commercial, so from a fourplex, it took you about 2 years, you said to get to this 38 unit. And I'm guessing you're probably the main GP anyway, managing this thing or managing the manager. How was that for you? And how did you find that 38 unit deal?
Well, so this is also down in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I actually found it on LoopNet. Somebody had listed it on LoopNet and I remember exactly, it was 38 units, it was $1.5 million, and we went and took a look at it, and I was like, oh man, this is pretty rough. It was in a decent area, but it was just run down, right? So we ended up buying it for 1.2 million out of 1.2, but we realized it needed a lot of work. So we ended up getting a bank loan, a recourse bank loan for, initially we got $600,000 in a loan, and we brought 600 to it. So it really was 50% loan to cost there, a loan to value. And then but the bank then said, okay, they got an appraisal on it, and they then allowed us to do draws against a loan. So over these 2 years of rehabbing it, we have then drawn a loan up to 1.2 million. So we owe a $1.2 million loan on it and $600,000 in equity on the deal, right? But we've gone in there. We've done new roof, new stucco. We've fixed the decking. We've done most of the units really nicely. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of unknowns, a lot of what do you call it? Surprises along the way, but it's getting there. So
Yeah, so you were basically, kind of quote unquote a multifamily, commercial multifamily investor, and now you're like, hey, I've done this 38 unit, I want to go big. So kind of, you said you went with your partner, the broker on this 38 unit. So when did you make that shift now into bigger syndication and raising money? And how did you actually change your approach as you kind of scaled into this bigger asset?
Yeah, so that 38 unit kind of gave me some. It's like, okay, this is how big a deal is to be run, and what the challenges are. And I realized, at that time I was kind of like running out of my own money, right? Because I had invested in 4 or 5 deals with my own capital. I was like, well, I don't have unlimited funds here, but I realized there's unlimited funds if you partner with people. And so I had, over the last a couple of years leading up to this, I had been talking to people about multifamily real estate investing and building that network, building an investor list, to start really getting out there and getting people to know who I was and what I was doing. So I've, slowly created that list, and sending newsletters and gone to, meetups and other things. And then once I, found that team who was doing these larger syndications that needed some help, I went to my investor list and I said, hey, I got this deal, this is the group, it's in Atlanta, it's in a growing market and everything else. So, are you interested in investing with us? And that's kind of how I approached it. And, I'm an analytical guy, and people, kind of trust my judgment. So I was able to, bring money to that first deal through that co-sponsorship. So yeah, that's kind of how I did it.
Yeah, and what would you say to somebody looking to, I guess, make that leap from kind of like maybe residential to multifamily, specifically from a equity raising perspective?
Yeah, it's a matter of getting educated and being informed, knowing what you're talking about, right? So when somebody will ask you questions about the deal, you need to be able to answer those questions. What's the business plan? What's the potential risks? What's the upside? What's, how are we going to raise rents? Everything else. And also just so being kind of very understand the deal in much detail, and also understand your underwriting and so forth. At least that's been my approach. So that's how you connect with investors. But just keep educating investors through newsletters, through meetups, through calls, so your investors are comfortable with you. You can't just, in my opinion, talk to somebody once and then 6 months or a year later expect them to invest with you. You got to keep them warm. You got to keep really talking to them. So that was a challenge for me, because I've never really been out there promoting myself, so had to kind of go out there and get uncomfortable being in front of people and learning and connecting. So that's just the approach I took, just slowly generating that list, really.
So you guys are doing a lot of syndications. Like you said, you've got 4. You said under contracts right now. So kind of what's the next step for you guys? I mean, you're doing a ton of deals. So when you look at Open Door Capital, in the next 5 to 10 years, what are your thoughts? What are you looking at? Where are you looking to get to?
Yeah, so I partnered with a couple of different groups along the way, and now I'm really learning where I can add the most value and which people I enjoy to work with the most. So I have a good partner who we're doing a deal up there in Western Pennsylvania right now, and we really have a good model going. So really, what next is trying to systematize some of this stuff so we can just, because I think, let me step back a little bit. Everybody wants that 200 unit apartment building, and everybody's bidding on that and trying to buy that. So it's very competitive. I feel like if we can get super good at creating a system to take down even a smaller deal and be really efficient around it, hey, if it's 150, 100, or 75 units, if it still makes sense from an investment standpoint, if we can do efficiently take it down and get out there and get all the paperwork done quickly and inexpensively and raise the money and close the deal, then we can have an opportunity to break into a niche that not everybody competes in. So we're just continuing to grow and really just see where the value add are, and grow the company. And the other thing that I do too, I've been really going into the coaching as well. So I feel like giving back to new investors who wants to learn what it means to be a multifamily investor. That's my other passion, to really work with them.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. We'll definitely touch on that in a little bit. So we're definitely dwelling into the quick rounds. These are going to be quick questions, quick answers. You ready, sir?
Sure.
All right. First question: what makes you, Jans, unique? What is that differentiating factor that separates you from the next guy or the next girl?
I never give up, right? I mean, I'll just keep pushing forward, and if my one direction doesn't work, I'll try something else. I'll be very tenacious around reaching my goals.
Awesome. Second question: what was the last book that you read, and what was the one thing you picked up from that book?
The last book I read is actually, this kind of comes to the coaching. It's called The High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. So that's kind of come in the coaching thing. There's a lot of really good mindset things about, being clear around your purpose, figuring out what do you really want to do, right? And not somebody else's idea, your own idea, developing that purpose and then work towards that.
So you've got a lot going, like I said, in your company. What do you do for fun?
I'm a mountain biker, so I like to go mountain biking and hiking in the mountains. I live here in Colorado, so there's always plenty of outdoor stuff to do.
Nice. So if there's somebody saying, wow, I really want to connect with Jans or maybe get on a coaching call with him, what's the best place people can reach out, connect with you, get to know you more?
Yeah, so they can go to my email is Jens, Jens at opendoorscapital.com. And my website is opendoorscapital.com. And then go opendoorscapital.com/call to set up a free coaching call with me. A discovery call, a strategy call. We can talk about investing or coaching, whatever it may be.
Sounds fantastic. Jens, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today. Appreciate it.
That was great. Thank you so much. I'll appreciate it.